Rosario+Vampire. Hey wait, I didn't know Rosario+Vampire is a magical girl show. Well, neither did I. I saw those comments on my Magical May announcement video questioning Mocha's appearance there, and honestly, I can't blame you. It's totally understandable if you disagree with this idea that Rosario+Vampire is a magical girl show, because by all means, it looks like it's actually instead a harem anime. What's a harem anime? Oh, you sweet innocent child, this video might not be for you. For the uninitiated, a harem anime is where there's one dude who's our main protagonist, who's always just as bland as dry toast, and yet, for some reason, he gets a pack of hot girls following him around because they're all super thirsty for his basic copy and paste face. Because his bland, generic pleasantries is all they're looking for in a man, and like every other male character is always some sort of pervert anyways, and Rosario+Vampire is no exception here. We've got all the same girl archetypes every harem anime has, each one different in just the right way to appeal to your fetish type. Your type, yeah, sure. You got the sweet best friend, the one with big tits, the one who looks a little too young, the one who looks a little too old, the quiet emo one, and the tsundere. Every harem anime needs a gimmick, and Rosario+Vampires is monster girls. Yes, before the slew of monster harem anime we got now, which is sort of weird that that's a reoccurring concept, isn't it? There was Rosario+Vampire, beating them all to the punch by being released back in 2004. Back in my day, our monster girls were more girls than monsters. These newfangled monster girls are pretty crazy, right? Yeesh. Critter, this is Magical Girl May. I thought we were supposed to be talking about magical girls. Right you are. So I read Rosario+Vampire's manga first, and after 2 or 3 books, I gave up on it. Once the mangaka started getting really lazy with the Monsters of the Week monsters, I sort of lost interest. Sometime later though, I heard there was an anime for it, and I thought that might be fun. Is Rosario+Vampire a magical girl show? This sort of transformation wasn't really implied in the manga. There was usually just a big flash of light, but it's not like Sailor Moon had transformation sequence panels on all of its manga. But it got me thinking, is a transformation sequence really all it takes to classify something as a magical girl anime? Surely there has to be more to it than that, but what exactly is there? What all does it take to classify something as a magical girl show? And does Rosario+Vampire count as one? Well, let's dive in and find out. Ho, 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 it's magic! First, let's start with the beginning, of the title. Magical. What can we really say is magic in regards to a magical girl anime? Some sort of otherworldly power or enhancements in abilities? That seems good, right? Something like Sailor Mercury's magical bubbles or Cardcaptor Sakura's various spells? Rosario+Vampire definitely has this concept in spades. When Mocha becomes a vampire, she gains superhuman speed and strength. And the various other girls also gain powerful abilities when they activate their monster forms, including the 2 witches who literally cast magic. So there we go, magic. But that can't be the only thing. After all, there are plenty of examples of non-magical girl-based media that uses magic as an ability for the heroes. In fact, using magical abilities is probably the most common element in all anime, except for, sports shows? I guess. So there has to be more to it than that, right? It seems self-explanatory that you would need girls for your anime to be classified as a magical girl show. A primarily female-centered cast is all we would be looking for. Maybe 1 or 2 male characters, and that fits Rosario+Vampire to a T. Tsugune is the only primary male character, and the girls are the ones doing the most of the cool action stuff when they save the day. So there we go. Well, it's not that simple, right? Have you ever heard of Cute High Earth Defense Club Love? It's a mouthful. This is unquestionably a magical girl show, but its cast is entirely male. I don't think there's a single female character in the entire show. But you would be hard-pressed to not say this doesn't count as a magical girl show. That's literally the entire point of it. Or what about La Pucella from Magical Girl Raising Project? They're actually a boy who transforms into a girl when they open up their magical app. Or the reverse scenario in Magical Girl Ore. Gender has been played around a lot with magical girl shows more and more lately, even in Rosario+Vampire. While Skune might initially start the show as a normal human, he does eventually gain powers, and he starts participating in the action. So the gender of our characters doesn't seem like it has to be set in stone necessarily to classify a show as being magical girl. So let's keep going. I'm sure there's going to be some people out there who will fight me on this, but guys, a show doesn't have to be from Japan to be a magical girl show. Can you honestly look at shows like Steven Universe or She-Ra and not call these magical girl shows? Hell, even the Powerpuff Girls could be called magical girls. So much so that they even actually got an anime later. Look at that. Because it's not like a genre can only be classified by its art style. After all, anime is just the Japanese way of saying animation. It's literally a synonym for the word cartoon. SpongeBob is an anime just as much as Cowboy Bebop is a cartoon. Fight me. As far as magical girls are concerned, the genre of magical girls started with inspirations coming from the show Bewitched. Not only an American show, but a live action one as well. Magical girls aren't limited by any style, whether that be a form of animation, a country of origin, and everything in between. One big trope of magical girl shows is the cute mascot character, like Luna, Caraberos, even Kyubey and Fauve can be classified as a cute mascot, even though they're meant to be a deconstruction of what the mascot character usually symbolizes. But is that really necessary? Usually the mascot character is just there to help explain the magical abilities to our new heroes, but that wouldn't be necessary for a show like Rosario+Vampire. These girls are just born monsters, and it's nothing they need explained to themselves, especially since they're in a literal school where their monster abilities get explained in class. Skune, being human, is the only one who needs the monster world explained to him, but literally every single character can already do that for him. A mascot isn't necessary here, and yet they still have one. This little bat dude, Batty, just so creative, right? He's mostly Coco's familiar of sorts, and she uses him as a weapon lots of the time. But he's still the cute little mascot they get to make plushies and merch out of, which arguably is more of the reason magical girl shows have these cute mascot characters. Aside from the in-universe element of being able to explain things to our characters, in reality, they're just cute for cute's sake. They're in merch, posters, they're arguably a bigger face for the show than the actual girls. These faces are essentially icons for the show, and you would be hard-pressed to see Rosario+Vampire without also seeing Batty floating around nearby.
When I was a little Billy, a galloping blaze overtook my city.
What is the tone for a magical girl show? That concept seems to be all over the place nowadays. I'm sure some of you could say it has to be fun, cute, bright, and flashy. While that definitely is the usual affair we see from magical girl shows, that's hardly actually true anymore. There's a YouTuber named CJ vs. Manga who has a really well-worded video about Is Madoka Magica a magical girl anime, which was honestly one of the inspirations for this video. That video is really, really great, and you should totally watch it because CJ is great and just so sweet and wholesome, and I love her content. Magical girls can have dark themes. Some of them get pretty violent, like Magical Girl Raising Project or Daybreak Illusion. And it's not like your traditional magical girl shows didn't have dark elements in them. In Sailor Moon's first arc, all of the Sailor Scouts die in various awful ways. Just because Sailor Moon features lots of pink and gold, that doesn't make it any more or less of a magical girl show than something featuring blacks and reds. Ah, but I hear you. It's not that Rosario+Vampire is too dark, it's that it's too mature. It discusses romance and sexual themes more than the usual magical girl show. And to that I say, are you crazy? Love and romance are gigantic themes in every magical girl show. Sailor Moon marries Tuxedo Mask. Chibi Moon is their child from the future. Love and being romantically attracted to someone is almost always a huge driving force with magical girl shows. The genre is most associated with action and romance. Just because the girls in Rosario+Vampire are a little more flirty and obvious about their feelings with Tsune, that doesn't mean that negates the show from being classified as a magical girl anime. And it's not like magical girl shows is beholden to one genre or style to begin with. Cute Earth Defense Club Love is very much a spoof on magical girls, and there's lots of other magical girl shows that are comedies. Just because the usual genre tends to be action and romance, that doesn't mean a magical girl show also can't be something else, like a drama, or a horror, or a harem. Here we go, the real bread and butter of this whole video, transformation sequences. The biggest staple to all magical girl shows. When those words get uttered, a girl doing a spin maneuver with rainbow lights and an outfit change is always the first thing that comes to mind. Popularized by the earliest magical girl shows like Sailor Moon or Cardcaptor Sakura, this is a flashy way to show off the new clothes the girl gets. Especially when they get some new shiny accessory that's easily marketed as a toy. It took up a chunk of screen time, and you could even copy the same animation over and over and over again, saving you on your budget. Every time people talk about magical girls, transformation sequences are brought up, or they get parodied left and right. Even me, I announced Magical Girl May with the transformation sequence. Hell, I only even started to consider Rosario+Vampire a magical girl show because it got a transformation sequence. And nearly every single show I have talked about here has featured a transformation sequence in some way. Arguably, the transformation sequence is a bigger argument in terms of classifying a magical girl show than anything else I've addressed in this video. And yet, it's not really true, because I can very specifically think of a show with a clear transformation sequence that is not a magical girl show. It comes with lots of bright glowing lights, a musical crescendo, and their hair changes to a bright flashy new color. So what's the difference between Goku and Mocha? A sentence I never expected to say in my life, but here we are. But seriously, the transformative elements between their shows are the same. A musical change, different hair color, their skills and abilities get an upgrade, and their physical attributes get a boost in size. Actually, there's plenty of non-magical girl shows that feature this sort of glowy transformation. When Naruto becomes the nine-tailed fox, when the Power Rangers go into Morphin Time, even slight changes like Yugi becoming Yami. While the physical differences might be slight, it is apparent he's changed, and it still is accompanied by repeated animation and a musical cue complete with bright flashy colors and lights. Hell, you could even make an argument that Digimon's evolution classifies as a transformation sequence. It's repeated every episode, lots of bright colors, and the end result is a temporary change in physical appearance for our characters. So why is it always assumed to be a trait for a magical girl show? What really is the difference between these and these? And I could guess that some of you are gearing up to say right now, this one is for girls and that one is for boys. No. Maho Shoujo and Shonen Jump, a couple of words I'm sure you've at least heard before, literally translating to magical girl and boy jump. Jump is the same. It's just, we did jump. So back in the day, boys and girls stuff was like war. They did not mix. There were massive differences in the content that was supposed to be watched by either a boy or a girl. Boy shows had darker elements, lots of action, and had a predominantly male cast. Girls' shows, on the other hand, had lots of pink and a bigger focus on character relationships, and mostly featured female casts. Boys watched Dragon Ball, girls watched Sailor Moon, and the argument you could make is Rosario+Vampire can't be a magical girl show because it's made for male audiences. If you were stupid, I'm kidding, but not really. If you have thought, you probably realize how stupid this concept actually is. And I don't know why the 90s were so insistent on splitting marketing like this, because it was hardly ever true. Lots of boys watched shows like Powerpuff Girls, Cardcaptor Sakura, and Sailor Moon, and lots of girls watched Naruto, Transformers, and Dragon Ball Z. An intended audience does not make a show what it is, because those shows can be loved by people regardless of their intended age or gender. And fortunately, nowadays, cartoons don't seem to be arbitrarily gatekeeping themselves based on these old concepts. So what is a magical girl show? How can we classify a magical girl show from the others? What is there between all these things that can define a specific form of media as a magical girl show? Well, you can't. Seriously, you really can't make an argument that any show is or isn't more of a magical girl show than any other. Because at this point, there are tons of different styles and shows and characters and worlds that are changing the world of magical girl content. Magical girl shows can be cute, can be scary, can be funny, can be sad. They have girls, boys, come from America, come from Japan. It can be made for adults or made for kids, feature romance, feature death, and literally everything else in between. And that's the point. You could make an argument for any sort of show or movie to try to justify it as a magical girl thing, and honestly, I really couldn't argue with you. You want to make an argument that even shows like Dragon Ball or Naruto could be classified as magical girl shows? Well, if you want to, then you definitely can. And is Rosario+Vampire a magical girl anime? Yes, because a magical girl show is what you make of it. You, yes, you. You are the only one who can define what you think a magical girl show can actually be. You could even say literally everything I've said in this video is wrong, and you would be right. Because there is no right or wrong way to classify a magical girl show nowadays. It's all up to how you want to define it. Personally, I think Rosario+Vampire is a magical girl anime. It's got lots of bright, fun female characters who go on fun adventures and get bright, flashy transformations that precede awesome bouts of fantastical combat. Most importantly though, the heart of the story hinges on the love and friendships between all of our main characters, and how those bonds grow over time. And for Rosario+Vampire, that's all it needs to be for it to be a magical girl anime. At least in my eyes. So I encourage you to charge into Magical Girl May and highlight those not-so-traditional magical girl shows yourself. Thank you so much for watching this video. Shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Nako, Michael, Cool Duck, Andrew, Raymiel, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, G-Extreme, Classic Critic, Surge, Taj, Boulder Off Bros, Noah Perkins, Sunny Shy, Great Bar, Caleb Grimm, Pentamenta, Genital War Thunder, Carmen, Order, Vortex, Jake, Sarah's Van, Mookie, and Amber. I hope you had fun with this one. I sure did. I saw a couple of comments being like, well, what can we call? What do we classify as magical girl shows? Well, it's up to you, you know? If you want to say this, that, or the other thing is a magical girl show, then go for it. It's up to you. If you want to go with something more traditional, that's fine too. If you want to do something really off the wall, that's fine. It's all up to how you want to classify it. And I hope this video helped point out that concept. What's your favorite non-traditional magical girl anime? I love hearing these kind of answers. Do you like Rosario+Vampire? Has anyone watched or read Rosario+Vampire? I think the manga is better than the anime, personally. I did go back to it eventually. Any and all thoughts and opinions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.